So what happens? What really happens when you take these incredibly powerful, process-driven systems? Think NASA, think the IMF, think even someone like Donald Trump with his particular style, and you put them right up against India's street-level ingenuity, that kind of chaotic but somehow super efficient, low-cost way of getting things done.
Yeah, that clash, that's exactly what we're diving into today. It's this fascinating paradox, isn't it?
Yeah.
Protocol versus instinct. Our sources, and a lot of this comes from some really sharp satirical analysis in the Ministry of Common Sense, they set up this amazing contest,
Right.
pitting these Western giants, all high-tech and bureaucratic,
Huh.
against India's, well, masters of improvisation. You know, the rickshaw driver, the panwala, the plumber,
Yeah.
the everyday experts.
And the mission here for us isn't just to, have a laugh, although, let's be honest, some of these comparisons are pretty funny.
Oh,
But the real goal is to dig out those surprising insights, those nuggets, that explain why these seemingly low-tech folks often, well, frankly, run wings around their super-funded, protocol-obsessed Western counterparts when things get messy. And it all comes down to this one concept, right? Jugaad.
Exactly, Jugaad.
Yeah.
And it's so much more than just a workaround. It's a whole philosophy. It's about finding that clever, immediate fix out of sheer necessity, often bending or even breaking the rules, forgetting the budget, just
Wow.
making it work now.
Uh,
And the analysis we're looking at suggests this isn't really about high-tech versus low-tech, not fundamentally. It's deeper. It's rigid process versus like raw intuition.
okay.
The Indian system, you could say, is built to actually thrive on chaos. It values recovering quickly. The Western system, it needs precision. It needs things to be just right. And when they aren't, well, it can get slow, painfully slow.
Right. So let's unpack that resilience. Where should we start? Maybe at the top, global politics.
Perfect place to start, because Jugaad operates at every level, even the highest.
Okay, so we have to kick off with this almost theatrical piece of geopolitics, the story of the imaginary phone call. It's satire, yes, but wow, does it reveal something profound about 21st century energy diplomacy?
It really does. The source lays out this claim. President Trump asserting that Prime Minister Modi personally called him on October 15th, apparently.
Right, a specific date.
A specific date, promising an immediate stop to buying Russian oil. Now imagine that headline. Huge news.
Absolutely massive. And then comes the Indian response, which is
Yeah.
just chef's kiss, pure diplomatic artistry.
Isn't it? The Ministry of External Affairs, the official voice, puts out this statement. It's polite, so polite, but devastatingly clear.
What was it exactly?
Something like, we checked every phone in South Block, every single one. No missed call, no voicemail. And then the kicker, not even a quick text or a cryptic emoji.
Huh. Okay, so decoded, that means.
It means we have no record whatsoever of this alleged event ever happening in physical reality. They don't argue about the content of the supposed call. They just deny the call itself occurred. It's brilliant.
And you have to remember the context here. This wasn't happening in a vacuum. This supposed call came right after Trump had decided back in August 2025 to slap these huge tariffs on Indian goods, like 50% on some things.
Exactly, including a special 25% Russia surcharge. It was blatant economic pressure, trying to force India's hand on sanctions, make it too expensive not to comply with the Western line.
So the idea that Modi would then just pick up the phone and voluntarily cave seems...
Well, unlikely.
Absurd, really, given the setup. And it highlights the different approaches. The source suggests Trump views diplomacy as, quote, performance art. It's all about the headline, the announcement, the immediate political win back home.
Right, playing to the base.
Totally. Whereas India's actual energy strategy, that's run off a spreadsheet, not a news ticker.
Okay, let's get into those facts. Because India's position on Russian oil was pretty clear by then, wasn't it?
Crystal clear. Since 2023, India had become Putin's #1 customer for oil. Why? Because Russia was offering it at massive discounts after the West pulled back.
This wasn't about ideology. It was pure economics.
Pure pragmatism.
Yeah.
India saved billions, literally billions, buying that discounted crude.
Yeah.
That money helps keep domestic fuel prices down, stabilizes their economy. It's a huge national interest issue.
So when the pressure came from the West, what was the official Indian line?
Oh, very standard, very diplomatic. Diversification is our policy. Very neutral, very bland.
But the real meaning, according to these sources...
The sources translate that as basically, we buy from whoever gives us the best price, period. We're driven by the market, not by your political alliances.
Which leads perfectly into that killer quote from the anonymous analyst.
Yes, the one that just nails it.
India is very loyal to discounts.
Boom. That's it. Not cynical, just Brutally honest economics.
Hmm.
When push comes to shove between geopolitical alignment and a really, really good deal, India takes the deal. Every time. National self-interest 101.
And how does Jugaad tie into this high-level decision-making? The source brings in this fascinating cultural angle.
Right, the telecast reference.
Hmm.
Modi's ancestral background is in this community of traditional oil pressers. And the satirical suggestion isn't just a throwaway line.
It implies something deeper.
It implies Modi has this innate sense of viscosity, margins, and market fluctuation. Knowledge that doesn't come from a CIA briefing or an energy analyst report, but from, well, from generations of knowing how to squeeze the most out of something valuable, an almost instinctual understanding of the market.
So you've got this stark contrast, Trump playing the political theater, demanding a favor for lifting tariffs he imposed.
All spectacle.
And Modi viewing it all as, what was the phrase, a spreadsheet of futures, freight, and faith. A cold, hard calculation where the bottom line trumps the headline.
The guy who understands the actual physics of pressing oil versus the guy focused on pressing the flesh in the news cycle. It's a fundamental difference in worldview.
And this is Jugaad at the state level, finding the angle, maximizing what you have.
Absolutely. India doesn't have the same kind of raw superpower leverage, maybe, but it has huge purchasing power and it maintains its flexibility. So the Jugaad here was using that position as a major buyer, the limited resource they controlled, to get a massive economic advantage while still, politely nodding to everyone diplomatically.
Genius in a way. Which brings us to that final line summarizing the whole episode.
Trump sold the headline, India sold the gasoline. Perfect. While one side was focused on the optics, the performance, the other was quietly filling up its tanks and its coffers. It shows that when pragmatism, profit, and let's call it the Gujarati doctrine, buy low, store high, smile politely meet political showmanship, pragmatism usually wins the long game.
A powerful first example. Innate business sense, that street smarts overcoming political posturing.
Exactly. And if that kind of Jugaad thinking works in the halls of power, imagine how potent it is down on the actual streets. Let's look at logistics and finance next.
Okay, yeah, let's shift gears. From global oil deals down to, getting your groceries delivered. This contrast between the super optimized but brittle U.S. supply chain and the Indian system is just stark.
It really is. First, you got to appreciate the marvel of the Western system when it works. It's all barcodes, predictive analytics, just-in-time everything. Highly efficient.
If everything goes right.
Exactly. That's the catch. It depends on stability. Smooth roads, open ports, predictable demand, cheap fuel. You throw one wrench in the works, one port closes, one key software glitches.
And the whole thing dominoes.
The whole fragile chain collapses. It's built for precision, not for resilience. You can't handle surprises well.
And the speed difference they highlight is amazing. In the U.S., you order 10 kilos of rice. It's, 4 to 6 business days? Because it's going through multiple hubs, getting scanned a dozen times.
All very orderly.
Meanwhile, in India, you call the local grocer.
And it's there in 4 to 6 minutes, maybe 10 if there's a cow blocking the road.
And the response to failure, this part kills me. U.S. supply chain breaks down.
Oh, well, naturally, you form a congressional subcommittee. You commission studies. You write a 300-page report analyzing the failure modes. Very thorough.
Yeah.
Very slow.
Right. Indian supply chain hiccup. A vendor runs out of something.
Forget the bureaucracy. The answer is immediate and practical.
Sharmaji's cousin knows a guy with a tempo. Problem solved. Probably before the subcommittee has even agreed on its meeting schedule.
It's just a totally different operating system. Centralized protocol versus decentralized human networks.
Precisely. The U.S. runs on artificial intelligence, right? Predictive models, algorithms. But these models are only as good as the data they're trained on, and they hate chaos. They break when reality deviates too much.
Whereas the Indian system runs on...
What did they call it?
Artificial intelligence. And it sounds funny, but it's incredibly sophisticated.
It's more than just gossip.
Oh, way more. Think of it as a distributed, real-time human database. Andy knows exactly which narrow lane is jammed right now because Sharmaji's daughter is getting married. She knows who needs the delivery first because they run a small food stall and are about to run out of onions. She knows whose cousin's tempo actually has petrol today after the strike yesterday.
Wow, that's hyper-local, dynamic knowledge.
It adapts instantly. Floods, power cuts, festivals, strikes. The system is designed to work around chaos, to even leverage it sometimes. It actually performs better when centralized systems fail because the human network just kicks in immediately. That's the core idea. Speed of recovery beats precision of diagnosis every time in a chaotic environment.
Okay, so that's logistics. How does this chaos management translate to finance? The comparison here is brilliant. The Indian bus conductor versus the IMF.
Yeah, this one really resonates. Think about the bus conductor. They're like the street-level chief economist for their route.
Oh, so
Well, take inflation, the IMF. They need months, right? Quarterly reports, complex models, endless meetings, analyzing lagging data to even forecast inflation, let alone suggest what to do about it.
right. It's a whole process.
The conductor. He sees the price of petrol go up at the pump that morning. He notices his chai costs a bit more at the usual stand. What does he do?
He just yells it out.
He just yells, ticket away, ticket price up by 2 rupees, boom, inflation adjusted. Instantly, policy implemented, budget balanced, CPI updated, zero lag, zero meetings, zero consultants.
That's an incredibly direct.
And think about their tools. The source describes that little metal ticket box. They have the one that clanks with all the coins.
Yeah.
Calls it the original blockchain. Think about it.
Yeah.
It's immutable. Every transaction is there. It's transparent. You can hear the coins. And it's balanced with a rubber band. Simple, effective, secure. The IMF discusses complex reserve management. The conductor lives cash flow management, juggling hundreds of passengers, fares, and endless small change, often in a vehicle operating way beyond its official capacity.
But the real kicker, the Jugaad masterpiece, is how they handle change, right?
Oh, this is the genius part. You pay with a larger note, you need, say, 2 P's back. What does the conductor often say?
And if I think to she wants, don't have the exact change, brother. Settle it next time.
Exactly. Now, on the surface, that sounds like maybe slightly annoying service, but the sources argue it's actually a powerful grassroots financial tool.
How?
By not giving back that exact small change immediately, he's essentially doing 2 things. One, he's keeping that small denomination rupee circulating within that very local economy. It doesn't get stuck in someone's pocket.
Okay, maintaining velocity of money.
Precisely. And 2, he's creating these tiny, informal micro-debts, these IOUs, that are instantly understood and accepted by everyone on that route within that community. It functions like a hyper-localized stimulus package. It prevents the system seizing up due to lack of small change.
Wow. So while the IMF is debating quantitative easing, trying to inject liquidity from the top down,
The bus conductor is performing instant, cash-based, bottom-up stimulus using loose change and community trust. It's dizzy practicality, completely overwhelming, complex economic theory. They're running a parallel financial system that's incredibly dynamic.
it proves that quote, right? Keynesian economics collapses under the weight of desi practicality.
It really does. And the lesson, linking back to logistics, is the power of systems built on trust, immediate feedback, and human connection. Knowing you'll see that conductor tomorrow, knowing he'll remember the 2 rupees, that social collateral is far more robust in that context than any purely digital anonymous system.
Incredible. Okay, so finance and logistics thrive on this chaos tolerance. What about engineering? Surely that's where precision has to win. Right, engineering. This feels like the ultimate test case. You've got NASA, the pinnacle of precision, protocols, safety checks, versus what the source calls Jugaadatronics. Let's start with Papu the plumber versus NASA life support.
The difference in mindset is just galactic. Imagine, NASA detects a tiny micro leak, like parts per million, in an oxygen valve on the International Space Station.
Red lights flashing everywhere, I assume?
Absolutely. Mission Control goes on high alert, global teleconferences, risk assessment matrices thicker than phone books, a 27-step protocol needing sign-offs from 3 continents. The fear of catastrophic failure dictates everything. The process is designed to prevent the worst possible outcome, even if it takes forever.
Okay, contrast that with Papu. He walks into Mrs. Sharma's bathroom, water's cascading from the ceiling, pooling near a sparking electrical outlet. The whole place smells faintly of mildew and despair.
What's Papu's first move? He calmly surveys the scene, maybe tuts sympathetically, then asks Mrs. Sharma if the tea is ready. Zero panic. He operates in crisis mode as his default setting. This isn't an anomaly. This is Tuesday.
And his toolkit, it's legendary.
Isn't it? The source lists a wrench that looks like it survived several world wars, a tube of Fevicol, which they hilariously call India's real space glue, and crucially, the thumb seal test.
The thumb seal test.
Yeah, forget fancy pressure sensors. He finds the leak, maybe by listening intently, maybe using some arcane spitball technique, slaps some Fevicol on it, and then presses his thumb firmly over the spot for a strategic amount of time. That's the diagnostic and the temporary fix, all in one.
Right.
It relies on decades of tactile feedback, knowing just how much pressure for just how long.
And Fevicol itself gets this amazing description.
Oh, the best part. It apparently won't float in zero gravity because it's emotionally attached to the nearest surface. It's not just an adhesive, it's practically a sentient being with loyalty. Papu doesn't just apply the glue, he anoints the pipe with it.
There's a whole ritual involved.
According to the source, yes. A sacred chant, probably muttering about the shoddy original workmanship, followed by the ultimate declaration of success, delivered with absolute certainty. It won't leak now.
And somehow, it often works, at least for a while.
It works long enough. And that's the key difference, right? NASA is obsessed with diagnosing the precise root cause, which might take weeks and require flying up a specialized tool on the next rocket. Papu is obsessed with speed of recovery. Stop the immediate crisis now with whatever's at hand. Use the fevicol, use the thumb, use sheer willpower. Keep the system functional.
Resourcefulness over resources again. Okay, let's scale this up. The ultimate tech challenge. The James Webb Space Telescope. $10 billion piece of kit, million miles away. It glitches.
Right. Let's say it gets some obscure error message like cryocooler harmonic resonance exceeding threshold. NASA engineers, they go into overdrive. Weeks of remote diagnostics, simulations, software patches, debating risks.
Yeah.
It's incredibly complex, incredibly careful.
Meanwhile, back on Earth, what's the default Indian tech support solution for any device acting up? From a flickering light bulb to, apparently, a deep space telescope.
The universal mantra. Simple, profound, elegant. Switch off Carke on Carlo.
Just turn it off and turn it back on again.
It's not just IT advice. It's practically spiritual guidance. The source jokes that if they rewrote the Bhagavad Gita for the modern age, that line would be in Chapter 3. It's this fundamental trust that most systems, however complex, just need a reset, a moment to clear their digital heads.
And the confidence behind it. Tell me about Raju the electrician's toolkit. It embodies this philosophy, doesn't it?
Perfectly. He's got one trusty screwdriver, which is simultaneously a tester, a pry bar, a wire stripper, and occasionally a tool for persuading reluctant circuit breakers.
A weapon of faith, they call it.
Exactly. Then there's electrical tape, good for insulating wires, fixing leaky pipes, mending broken relationships, apparently. And the most critical component, gut feeling. This is diagnostic AI that predates AI by millennia.
He just knows.
He's seen it all. Dodgy wiring, monsoon shorts, power grids held together by hope and prayer. A multi-billion-dollar telescope having a wobble. That's just another appliance acting up. It's Tuesday afternoon. Give him the master switch, a cup of strong chai, and unwavering confidence. Flip. Wait, flip back. Problem solved. The conviction itself seems to transmit across the vacuum of space.
Okay, let's push this even further into the absurd but illustrative. The rickshaw mechanic building a quantum computer.
Oh, this is where the satire just sings. It takes these high-concept physics ideas and grounds them in roadside reality. Quantum superposition, right? A particle being in two states at once.
Yeah, like 0 and 1 simultaneously.
In Ramesh, the mechanic's garage, his prize rickshaw is in superposition. It is simultaneously running and about to break down catastrophically at any second. That, my friend, is Schrodinger's rickshaw.
Yeah.
And it's probably carrying passengers right now.
And quantum computers need insane stability, right? Ultra-cold temperatures, sterile labs.
Minus 273 degrees Celsius, near absolute zero, to keep those delicate qubits stable. Costs millions. Extremely fragile.
Ramesh's solution for stability.
3 centimeters of duct tape, strategically applied. A bit of rusty wire repurposed from God knows where, and, quote, a spiritual level of optimism. His main power source seems to be half an alternator scavenged from an old Maruti, running on the philosophy.
Are aadha hai kafi hai. Baki hope sambal lega. Half is enough. Hope will handle the rest.
So faith is literally completing the circuit.
Seems to be. And control. Physicists use lasers, magnetic fields, incredibly precise manipulation.
Ramesh uses.
He slams the rickshaw's horn hard. The resulting sonic boom, combined apparently with the driver's simultaneous frustrated curse, somehow vibrates every subatomic particle in the vicinity into temporary alignment. Quantum coherence achieved, just long enough to lurch forward to the next traffic light.
It's hilarious, but the point is clear, isn't it?
Absolutely. All these examples, the plumber, the electrician, the mechanic, they highlight this relentless focus on resilience through adaptability. The Indian Jugaad system isn't designed for perfect conditions. It's designed to function despite imperfect failing conditions. The Western system excels when things are perfect, but struggles badly when they're not, which leads us naturally to the ultimate intelligence, human connection itself. Okay, so let's talk intelligence. Not artificial, but like the real deal. Cognitive power.
Yeah.
We pour billions into AI, training models on unimaginable amounts of data. Yet they still miss so much, don't they? The nuance, the context, the sheer predictive ability that comes from just living life and talking to people.
And the prime example here is the Panwalla versus Google Translate.
Perfect comparison. Pan Shop, that little roadside kiosk selling betel leaf preparations and snacks. The source calls it a real-time translation and philosophical analysis lab.
Run by the ultimate language model.
Exactly. As in, IE beta, what do you need? Google Translate, plus its algorithms. It tries hard, but it constantly stumbles over Indian idioms, regional slang, the cultural subtext, because it hasn't lived the culture.
It lacks the context.
Totally. The Panwalla, on the other hand, is running what the source calls Chat GPT, with two A's, Chat.
Nice.
And this model isn't trained on Wikipedia or online forums. It's trained on like 25 years of listening to arguments, giving breakup advice, mediating family squabbles, absorbing multilingual gossip, and just watching people interact on that street corner.
So he doesn't just translate the words.
He translates the vibe, the intention, the underlying meaning. This is crucial.
Give me that example again, the Jugaad Carlinge one.
Right. You type Jugaad Carlinge into Google Translate. It gives you something bland and literal like, we will adjust, or we will manage somehow. Technically correct, maybe?
But the Panwalla hears that phrase, understands the context, the desperation, the hope, the need for a clever fix.
And he gives you the philosophical truth, the operational meaning. Abideko, miracle hunines, which translates to...
Now watch, a miracle is about to happen. That's completely different. It captures the optimism, the sheer audacity of Jugaad.
Exactly. It's not just translation. It's interpretation based on deep cultural understanding. And the source even satirizes how he retrieves this info.
The PPPPP.
Phonetic processing via PAN protocols. With memory recall apparently aided by a spit trajectory algorithm linked to the gutka he's chewing. It's satire, obviously, but it points to this incredibly dense, constantly updating oral network of information, synchronized through gossip and observation.
And he adds value beyond translation.
Oh, yeah. Customer asks, how do you say, I love you in Bhojpuri? The Panwalla gives the phrase, sure, but then adds the essential life advice. What do
you mean?
Get a job first, worry about love later. He provides the syntax, plus a built-in risk assessment based on lived experience. No AI does that.
Okay, so human linguistic networks beat digital ones for nuance. What about professional networks? Matchmaker versus LinkedIn.
Another fantastic comparison. Silicon Valley thinks it invented networking with its algorithms and platforms focusing on, weak ties.
Right, connecting with people you barely know.
Meanwhile, Indian matchmakers, usually aunties, have been running these incredibly sophisticated human resource algorithms based on deep, strong family and community ties for centuries.
Using anti-intelligence, or AI 2.0.
AI 2.0, exactly. And this AI calculates value using variables that would make a Silicon Valley HR department faint. The formula they suggest is priceless.
Remind me.
Salary times Sanskar divided by skin tone plus family reputation squared, roughly.
Okay, let's unpack Sanskar again. That's not something LinkedIn asks about.
Not even close. Sanskar is. It's upbringing, cultural values, manners, respect for elders, family traditions. It's this whole qualitative assessment of character and background that's incredibly important in that context. LinkedIn tracks skills, tracks values, and family reputation. That's not just your last job title. It's generations of perceived trustworthiness, social standing, gossip.
A much deeper background check.
Yeah.
And the profile optimization is next level.
Oh, it's an art form. LinkedIn tells you to quantify your achievements. Matchmakers practice creative truth enhancement, like engineer magically becomes rising tech leader, or the potentially problematic lives with parents is beautifully reframed as emotionally grounded and financially prudent. It's all about presenting the candidate in the best possible cultural light.
And the results, how do they compare?
Well, LinkedIn measures success in clicks, connections, maybe job placements. Matchmakers measure success in engagements, weddings, and eventually invitations to the grandkids' naming ceremonies. The conversion rate, the source implies, is way higher.
Why? What makes the matchmaker network so effective?
Deeply embedded social trust and massive accountability. If a LinkedIn connection doesn't work out, you just disconnect. If a match brokered by anti-pushpa goes sour because you weren't honest, you haven't just failed a transaction, you've damaged your family's reputation within a network that has a very long memory.
The network enforces the contract.
Exactly. The social pressure, the community ties ensure a much higher degree of commitment and therefore lifetime retention, as the source puts it, compared to the relatively anonymous, low-stakes connections on a professional platform.
It's a system built on reputation and consequence.
And just briefly, they touch on one more comparison. The temple priest versus the Wall Street broker.
Right. Algorithms versus astrology.
Kind of. Wall Street uses technical analysis, charts, past performance data. Very empirical, very data-driven. The priest, he consults planetary charts representing future destiny, not past results. He relies on bells, rituals, coconut-breaking ceremonies, and divine intuition.
So his market tips are different.
He might say, Mars is looking angry today. Sell the usual stocks, maybe buy some gold, definitely donate generously to the temple. It's insider trading, but the insider isn't human.
And the underlying difference in market psychology.
Wall Street runs on fear and greed, cycles of panic and irrational exuberance. Temples run on unwavering faith and the power of donation. The source points out that faith never enters a bear market. Temples have incredible cash flow, zero advertising costs, and phenomenal customer loyalty, making them, in a way, the ultimate self-sustaining hedge fund, backed by incense and belief.
It all comes back to these alternative systems of value and trust, doesn't it? #tech outro. Okay, so pulling this all together after this really fascinating deep dive, what have we seen? Whether we're looking at global politics, street-level logistics, high-tech engineering, or even language and relationships, these Indian systems, often low-tech but always high intuition, they just seem to thrive. They thrive on flexibility, on a kind of practical faith, and on this deep, almost innate understanding and tolerance of human chaos.
Yeah, that's the core thread, isn't it? The ultimate takeaway seems to be that resourcefulness, that Jugaad spirit, often trumps sheer resources. It's not about having the fanciest tools. It's about knowing how to make any tool work when you absolutely need it to.
Right.
And the examples are so consistent. Modi using that ancestral trader's instinct for the oil deal. The mechanic coaxing quantum effects out of scrap metal and hope. The conductor managing microfinance with loose change. The key lesson running through all of it is that true resilience isn't about preventing failure, because failure is inevitable, especially in complex, chaotic systems.
It's about recovery.
It's about recovering instantly. It's the ability to keep the system running, despite the constant stream of obstacles, not just when conditions are perfect and predictable. The Indian systems we looked at are fundamentally designed for survival and adaptation within failure, not just for optimal performance before failure.
Which really makes you wonder, doesn't it? What if these massive, powerful, incredibly precise Western institutions, NASA, the IMF, maybe even Google or the Pentagon, what if they could genuinely integrate some of that Jugaad philosophy? What if they consciously decided to trade just a little bit of that absolute scientific precision or that rigid adherence to protocol for a significant gain in operational flexibility and speed of recovery? What could they unlock? What new efficiencies or innovations might emerge?
That's the provocative question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Imagine the IMF taking advice from a bus conductor on managing national liquidity crunches, or NASA engineers faced with a stubborn valve listening to Papu the plumber's wisdom, "Boss man, Alana." Just don't jiggle it. Maybe they'd save billions on over-engineered solutions.
Perhaps.
Maybe the ultimate secret of the universe, or at least the secret to keeping complex systems functioning in the real world, isn't hidden inside a supercomputer simulation after all. Maybe, just maybe, it lies in the profound, universally applicable wisdom of a confidently delivered Drixio. Switch off Carco on Carlo.
Stop trying to perfect the system to eliminate chaos.
And start learning how to dance with it, how to thrive within it. That might be the real challenge and the real genius of Jugaad.